Dear friend, have you ever wondered if packing your bags and exploring the world after 70 is still a great idea? The images of new lands and different cultures can be incredibly alluring, evoking beautiful emotions. But let's pause for a moment and ask ourselves, are we overlooking the potential risks, the real challenges that age brings to these trips? At this age, our bodies and minds undergo significant changes. These changes can make travel more tiring, less predictable, and even more dangerous. We often tell ourselves that we are still healthy enough, that we can still go here and there like when we were younger. But the truth is, traveling after 70 presents unique challenges that can turn a dream vacation into a stressful nightmare, even life-threatening. In this video, we will explore 5 important reasons, secrets that many older adults often overlook, making travel riskier than ever. From unexpected medical emergencies to potential financial pitfalls that can bleed your savings account, each aspect will be thoroughly analyzed to help you better understand the challenges older adults face when traveling. By the end of the video, you will have a clearer picture of why traveling at this stage of life requires special caution. More importantly, you will know the necessary precautions to ensure safety if you still decide to take a trip. Please join me until the end of the video, because the last reason on our list is something that many older adults never think about. However, it is one of the most common reasons why people lose money, time, and peace of mind when traveling. Now, let's get started. 1. Increased health risks and medical emergencies. One of the biggest concerns when traveling after 70 is the increased risk of sudden health problems. As we age, our bodies become less predictable. Conditions like heart disease, high blood pressure, and respiratory problems can flare up into emergencies at the least expected times. At home, accessing medical care is relatively easy. But when you're traveling, especially in a foreign place or a different country, getting the right treatment can become much more complicated. A minor health issue that could be easily managed at home can quickly become a serious, even life-threatening situation when you are far from your familiar doctor. For many older adults, the risk of a medical emergency is not just theoretical, but a very real possibility. Long flights can increase the risk of blood clots, also known as deep vein thrombosis. High altitudes can put a strain on the heart and lungs, especially for those with underlying conditions. Even simple things like dehydration or sunstroke can have more serious effects in an unfamiliar climate. Older adults are also more susceptible to infections. This means that exposure to new bacteria and viruses in different locations can lead to unexpected illnesses. Consider the story of James, a 74-year-old man who had always loved to travel. He planned a 2-week cruise with his wife, thinking it would be a relaxing way to see new lands without too much exertion. But on the 4th day of the trip, he started experiencing severe chest pain. The medical staff on board provided basic care, but he needed to get to a hospital immediately. Because they were in the middle of the ocean, he had to wait for an emergency evacuation to the nearest port, delaying treatment for hours. Fortunately, he survived, but the experience left him shaken. What was supposed to be a dream vacation turned into a terrifying ordeal, something he later admitted could have been avoided if he had considered the risks more carefully. Health insurance is another big issue. Many older adults assume that their regular health insurance will be valid wherever they go. But only when it is too late do they discover that they are not covered for medical treatment in another country. Without adequate travel insurance, hospital visits, emergency surgeries, and even basic medications can result in huge out-of-pocket costs. Some older adults have to pay thousands of dollars just to get the medical care they need while abroad. So, what can we do if you're over 70 and considering travel? First, remember to check with your doctor. Ask for a comprehensive health assessment, discuss any potential risks, and make sure you have all the necessary medications to take with you. Always research the healthcare system in your destination. If traveling internationally, make sure you have comprehensive travel insurance, including emergency evacuation and hospitalization. Because when it comes to health, preparation can make a big difference between a smooth trip and a disaster. Maintaining good health is one of the most important aspects of enjoying life after 70. But while medical risks are a major concern, they're not the only reason why traveling can be dangerous. 2. Increased exposure to infections and pollutants. One of the most overlooked dangers of traveling after 70 is the increased exposure to germs, viruses, and foodborne illnesses. Crowded airports, packed planes, public transportation, and unfamiliar restaurants all create an environment where bacteria and viruses thrive. For younger travelers, a cold or an upset stomach might just be a temporary inconvenience. But for older adults, these infections can lead to serious complications, hospitalizations, or even long-term health effects. A single trip can expose an older person to more illnesses than they would normally encounter in months at home. In some cases, their immune systems are not strong enough to fight them off. As we age, our immune systems naturally weaken, making it harder to recover from infections. Respiratory illnesses pose a particular risk for older adults. Studies have shown that older adults are more likely to develop complications from the flu, pneumonia, and even the common cold, especially when exposed to new strains in different parts of the world. Airplanes, in particular, are breeding grounds for germs. Passengers are often seated close together, breathing recycled air for hours on end. And because people from all over the world pass through airports every day, it is easy to encounter viruses that your body has never been exposed to before. Then there's the issue of food and water safety. Many travelers are excited to try new foods in different countries. But for older adults, unfamiliar ingredients, spices, and cooking methods can lead to digestive problems. Foodborne illnesses like norovirus, E. coli, and salmonella can hit older adults much harder, leading to prolonged sickness, dehydration, and severely weakened immune systems. While locals may have built up immunity to certain bacteria in their water supply, travelers often lack the same protection. Something as simple as drinking tap water or eating a salad washed with local water can lead to serious stomach infections. Public restrooms, hotel rooms, and rental cars are other places where germs lurk. Many people assume that because a place looks clean, it is safe. But surfaces like doorknobs, seat belts, and tray tables are rarely sanitized as thoroughly as they should be. Older adults who rely on mobility aids like canes or walkers are at higher risk, as they frequently touch public services for balance. So how can older adults protect themselves if traveling is unavoidable? Taking extra precautions is crucial. Wearing masks in crowded areas, washing hands frequently, and carrying hand sanitizer can help reduce the risk of picking up harmful germs. Drinking only bottled or filtered water, avoiding raw foods in unfamiliar places, and eating meals that are thoroughly cooked can help prevent foodborne illnesses. For those traveling internationally, recommended vaccinations and carrying essential medications for stomach problems or respiratory infections are a must. Staying healthy while traveling is possible, but requires vigilance, preparation, and a strong immune system. However, health risks are not the only concern. 3. Travel fatigue and challenges in recovery. Traveling might sound exciting, but for older adults over 70, the physical toll can be much greater than anticipated. Long flights, early check-ins, unpredictable schedules, and hours of walking can lead to exhaustion, making it difficult to recover. Unlike younger years when a good night's sleep could recharge the body, older adults often find that fatigue lingers for days or even weeks after a trip. When the body is tired, everything else suffers. Immune function weakens, coordination suffers, and the risk of illness or injury skyrockets. One of the biggest problems older adults face when traveling is disrupted sleep. Sleeping in a strange bed, dealing with noisy hotels, or adjusting to different time zones can make it nearly impossible to get proper rest. Lack of sleep is not just about feeling tired. It affects mental clarity, weakens the immune system, and even increases the risk of cardiovascular problems. Studies have shown that older adults who travel across multiple time zones often take longer to adjust, meaning jet lag can last longer than expected. This prolonged exhaustion can turn an enjoyable trip into a miserable experience, leaving travelers depleted rather than rejuvenated. Then there's the issue of physical strain. Sitting for extended periods on planes, buses, or trains can lead to stiff muscles, swollen joints, and an increased risk of blood clots. For older adults with arthritis or circulation problems, prolonged travel times can cause discomfort that lingers long after the trip is over. Even once you arrive at your destination, the physical demands of sightseeing, carrying luggage, and keeping up with scheduled activities can quickly become overwhelming. What starts as a fun vacation can quickly turn into a struggle just to keep up. Consider the case of Richard, a 75-year-old man who had always loved to travel. After retiring, he and his wife planned a 2-week cruise overseas, assuming it would be as enjoyable as their trips in previous years. But after a 10-hour flight, navigating through a crowded airport, and adjusting to a 6-hour time difference, Richard felt exhausted before the trip even started. By the second day, he struggled with walking tours, found it hard to stay awake during sightseeing excursions, and found himself needing frequent rests. By the time he adjusted, it was almost time to go home. He spent the following weeks recovering from the trip rather than enjoying the memories. Another challenge older adults face is maintaining their normal diet and hydration levels. Many destinations feature unfamiliar foods that can cause digestive issues, and staying hydrated while on the move is often overlooked. Dehydration alone can lead to fatigue, dizziness, and confusion, making even simple activities feel like a struggle. Combined with poor sleep and physical strain, it is easy to see why many older adults feel worse after a trip instead of refreshed. So what is the solution? If traveling is unavoidable, older adults should plan for plenty of rest days, stay hydrated, and avoid scheduling too many activities back to back. Taking shorter flights with layovers to move around, packing nutritious snacks, and allowing time for naps can also help mitigate fatigue. But most importantly, it is about recognizing personal limits and adjusting travel plans accordingly. Because a vacation should be enjoyable, not something that takes weeks to recover from. The physical toll of traveling is a serious concern for older adults, but it is not the only potential hazard. For that higher risk of falls and injuries. One of the greatest dangers of traveling after 70 is the increased risk of falls and injuries. As we age, our balance, reflexes, and bone density naturally decline, making us more prone to accidents. While a minor stumble in your home might not seem like a big deal, a fall while traveling, especially in an unfamiliar place, can lead to broken bones, serious hospitalizations, or even permanent mobility issues. The reality is that a single fall can change the course of an older person's life, turning what was supposed to be a relaxing trip into a painful and expensive ordeal. Many older adults do not realize just how different the travel environment can be compared to what they're used to. Hotels, cruise ships, and historical sites often feature uneven floors, poorly lit staircases, or slippery surfaces that make falls more likely. Some destinations have little to no accommodations for disabled persons, meaning simple activities like stepping onto a bus or walking on cobblestone streets can become unexpected hazards. In many places, emergency medical services are not as quick or advanced as they are at home, meaning even a minor injury can take longer to treat, increasing the risk of complications. Consider the case of Linda, a 78-year-old woman who had always dreamed of visiting Europe. She was in relatively good health for her age and regularly walked in her neighborhood without any issues. But when she arrived in Italy and started navigating the steep, uneven streets, she quickly realized it was not as easy as she thought it would be. One evening, as she stepped off the curb on a poorly lit alleyway, she lost her balance and fell hard, breaking her hip. She was rushed to a local hospital, where doctors said she needed surgery. Not only did she have to cut her trip short, but she spent months recovering after returning home. What was supposed to be the trip of a lifetime turned into an experience she wished she had never taken. Another big factor is fatigue. Traveling often involves long days, erratic eating schedules, and disrupted sleep patterns, all of which can impact balance and coordination. When the body is tired, reaction times slow down, making it easier to misstep or trip. For older adults with arthritis or joint pain, trekking through airports, train stations, or tourist sites can cause swelling and discomfort, increasing the risk of a sudden loss of balance. So how can older adults minimize the risk? If traveling is essential, choosing destinations with good accessibility, Avoiding areas with high-risk terrain and always wearing appropriate footwear can help. Walking sticks, supportive shoes, and getting adequate rest can also make a big difference. Above all, recognizing personal limitations is key, because no trip is worth sacrificing your long-term mobility and independence. While the physical toll of traveling is a serious concern for older adults, it is not the only potential hazard. 5. Travel insurance and financial risks. One of the most unexpected dangers of traveling after 70 is not just about health, but about the financial risks that come with it. Many older adults assume that if they run into trouble while traveling, they can simply rely on their insurance or personal savings. But the reality is that travel-related medical emergencies, trip cancellations, and even financial scams can drain a person's bank account faster than they think. For many older adults, a single unforeseen event can turn a carefully planned trip into a financial nightmare, leaving them facing overwhelming expenses and stress. One of the biggest financial risks is healthcare abroad. Many older adults do not realize that their regular health insurance often does not cover treatment in foreign countries. This means that if you get sick or injured while traveling, you could be responsible for paying thousands of dollars in medical expenses. Even in countries where healthcare is more affordable, emergency medical evacuations, such as being flown to a suitable hospital, can cost tens of thousands of dollars. Without adequate travel insurance, older adults can find themselves in a situation where they have to pay a huge bill out of their own pockets or go without the medical care they need. Then there's the issue of trip cancellations. Many older adults book trips months in advance, assuming they will be in good health when the time comes. But life is unpredictable. Health problems can arise suddenly, requiring trips to be postponed or canceled altogether. Unfortunately, many airlines, hotels, and tour operators have strict policies that do not allow refunds for last-minute cancellations. This means that older adults could lose thousands of dollars if they have to change their plans without proper travel insurance. Recovering that money can be nearly impossible. In addition to medical costs and trip cancellations, there is another serious financial risk: scams and fraud. Older adults are often targeted by scammers who prey on tourists by using tactics like fake taxi services, overcharging for simple goods, or even elaborate schemes designed to steal credit card information. Many scammers specifically look for older individuals who appear unfamiliar with their surroundings, knowing that they are less likely to notice a scam happening in real time. In some cases, criminals take advantage of older adults by offering fraudulent vacation deals that turn out to be nothing more than an expensive trap. Consider the case of George, a 76-year-old man who had always been careful with his money. He booked a dream vacation to a tropical island, making sure to save for every part of the trip. But when he arrived, he realized the hotel he had booked did not exist. He had fallen victim to an online scam, and by the time he realized it, his money was gone. With no accommodation, he had to scramble to find another hotel, paying double the amount he had budgeted just to have a place to sleep. What was supposed to be a relaxing trip turned into a stressful financial mess that followed him home. So how can older adults protect themselves? First, always check if your health insurance covers international travel. If not, invest in a solid travel insurance plan that includes medical emergencies and trip cancellations. Second, when booking trips, only use reputable companies and avoid deals that seem too good to be true. Third, be extra cautious with your money when traveling. Avoid carrying large amounts of cash. Be mindful of who has access to your credit card information, and never trust strangers with personal financial details. While traveling can be enjoyable, these financial risks make it clear that after 70, a great deal of caution is necessary. Unexpected costs, the potential for losing money to scams, and the unpredictability of health emergencies make traveling a gamble that not every older adult is willing to take. Conclusion: making informed decisions for a safe and fulfilling journey. We have just explored 5 key reasons why traveling after 70 comes with significant risks. Risks that many older adults do not consider until they have to face them directly. From unexpected health emergencies to injuries, exhaustion, infections, and financial pitfalls, each of these challenges can turn what was supposed to be a relaxing vacation into an overwhelming even dangerous experience. While traveling may seem like an enjoyable way to spend retirement, the reality is that after a certain age, it requires much more planning, caution, and awareness than it did in younger years. But does that mean older adults should not travel at all? Not necessarily. It just means that for those over 70, the way they approach travel has to change. Instead of grueling long flights, stressful sightseeing tours, and risky destinations, it is best to opt for safer, closer, and less physically demanding options. Exploring local tourist spots, taking shorter trips, or focusing on destinations that offer easy access to medical care can make a big difference in terms of safety and enjoyment. Traveling should enhance quality of life, not create new problems that last long after the trip is over. If you or a loved one are considering traveling after 70, take a moment to really think about the potential challenges. Is your health stable enough to handle the trip? Do you have the right travel insurance to protect against financial risks? Have you chosen a destination that is safe and accessible for your needs? It might not seem fun to ask these questions, but answering them honestly can prevent unnecessary stress and hardship in the future. Ultimately, longevity is not just about adding years to life. It is about making sure those years are lived with quality, independence, and peace of mind. If avoiding unnecessary travel means living a healthier and safer life, then it is worth reconsidering the risk before booking that next flight. Thank you for joining us today. We would love to hear from you. Leave a comment below and share one thing you have learned today and how you plan to use it in your life. Your thoughts are very important to us, so do not hesitate to share them. Reading your comments gives us great motivation and encouragement. If you enjoyed this video and found it helpful, please like, subscribe, and share. Your support helps us continue to create great content to inform and inspire you. Thank you for watching, and we look forward to seeing you in the next video.